Now we're gonna just get to the casters and take the game away. So Derek and Joel, have fun.
Thank you very much, guys. Lothar and Toffees and Mista bringing very much the expert view of what happened in the previous game. We're going to jump on to game number 4 here. We're going to close out the series with multiple games to go. But 2 more games in day 1, Moses. And you saw game 3. You saw how Liquid and you saw how OG and Entus was doing their thing. But how do you see the matches coming forth in this next match?
Well, we'll see if the momentum can continue for Liquid. Taking a very decisive victory, a ton of kills coming out that last game. So looking to continue that momentum, which is a thing in PUBG. If you can continue to hit your rotations and take those team fights. And of course, if the circle is on your side, you can definitely string together some multiple placements that are in the higher end of the leaderboard. So Liquid looking to repeat, but also, again, I'm actually looking for C9 to do a little bit better. They've been doing really good with the damage, doing really excellent job, taking the fights, but really missing out on the positioning aspect. So we'll see if they can continue that as we take a look at the next plane here.
We see the plane path kind of opposite from what we saw in Game 3. We're coming into this Game 4 from a northwestern circle, kind of heading straight down towards the southern part of the map here. And you're going to see kind of the usual routes and the usual drop points for most of these teams here. As we see, Game 4 is not going to be about fighting for placements anymore. It's going to be about Games 1 and 2, who have kind of fought over each other, and now they're kind of more decided more than anything. So LG and rest of the teams that are dropping at the moment, we're going to see very usual dropping points here.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, I think that aside from teams like Ghost, LG, those who are still trying to get used to each other here through the first few games, we're going to see some similar dropping patterns. Now, I'll be interested to see how Tempo starts to adjust here. Tempo, again, struggling to get through that mid-game without losing players. They are going to continue to split. C9 a little bit closer to them than they've been in the past. Atletico dropping into Pachinki here uncontested as far as I can tell. So it looks like Atletico might have a little bit of an early advantage there. LG in Georgia Bowl with Avangar. So we'll see if these two teams tangle up again.
So it's going to be North Georgia Pool, that big fight over between Avangar and LG here. Now talk about Avangar just a little bit here. Moses, we're going to be talking about this team coming off last week off the Katowice getting the championship victory, and now they're back here once again. Of course, we did see backs and forth when it comes to a really hard losses at the same time, facing a lot of big wins at the tournament. But we haven't seen a big win from Avangar quite yet. Now reaching into Game 4, how do you see their approach kind of changing as the game's going?
Actually, I don't think it's going to change at all. Avangar is a very hot and cold team, either winning in tremendous fashion or getting blown out early in the game. And sometimes they'll have that mid-game issue as well as every team does in transition. But Avangar, if they're not securing a victory with 4-up and steamrolling all the competition, they seem to have a little bit of trouble just maintaining that 4-up status and rolling through the end game. So we'll see here how they kind of react to LG being nearby. LG really struggling from both a gear standpoint and also a team fight standpoint. So be ultimately interested to see how Avangar continues the aggression, or if they'll maybe temper their approach here through the last games of today.
And definitely the different standpoint is that Luminosity seems to be less comfortable, obviously, not knowing many of these teams and the strategy that go behind how they move around the field. But I should say Avangar, now they're sort of used to a lot of these teams on the roster here. We see them facing off against plenty of times. So difference between them is going to be Luminosity still trying to figure things out as we see the 4th game starting with us. So Avangar, LG, going to be a very important standpoint to look at.
Yeah, and really ultimately it looks it goes beyond just LG, Entus, GOL, IFTY, all these teams that are coming into a relatively new environment, trying to transition away from that advantage that third person gives you, that vision, the ability to rotate the camera around and soak up all that information. You have to work for every little bit of vision you can get in this game. So jumping around, peeking, and really if you don't have good control of those movements, you'll get caught out. And you see that with the peaks on some of these teams they're just trying to get a little bit of information. They're getting wiped immediately because they don't see it coming, right? Because it's very little room for error with some of these top level teams. So looking at this first circle, we are going to see a little bit less water initially here, but are going to be on the left side of the map, nice and centered. So the Gatka region staying in the play zone. We're looking here at Liquid looting away in Yasnaya. So the long transition here, again, going to be a factor for teams like Vega, Toffee's mentioned in the break, they're looking for that military circle, not able to get it just yet, but Vitality and FaZe actually not making it all the way over to Melt Power, choosing a little bit more of a center drop zone around the farm area, so a bit of a change up here from FaZe.
You see also Entis Ace coming into this tournament. You talk about Liquid holding Yasnaya. Those players you see in front of the Entis Ace were going to be very big opponents, trying to contest them early on Yasnaya. But right now, as the games move forward and showing off good performance by Liquid, it seems like those boys down in blue, they're going to be the ones holding Yasnaya very, very strong. We see 4 AM, Godfrey getting a vision onto some of the Entis Ace members, but some people getting knocked down to full half health, but no more punishment coming from that.
So Temeria trying to get away with the vehicle. I think they're trying to maintain the health there as Godfrey just trying to get as much damage out of that UAS as possible. Prevent that utility with that vehicle. Some people just trying to cover his teammates' kind of retreat there with the UAS. So
hey, look right behind him though. Look, Gukon coming in from 4 AM from behind. So that is the last thing they would probably expect coming from the same team here. Now, Godfrey probably gave the information over to Gukon on exactly where the two members of Entis Ace is currently at. So how do you see Gukon? Obviously, they only have 2 members from one on either side. So how do you see them moving forward, trying to approach this here?
Well, you can actually see a 3rd member now approaching. They're encircling Entis here in this building. Now, Entis in a defensive position, both teams in the zone. So this is more of an aggressive move here from 4 AM, looking to probably put it to one of the only teams in the area. So not a lot of pressure from other areas yet, as other teams are still trying to transition. So we'll see if they go for a building crash here, or if they're just going to try and get some information and roll out. Looks like that might be the best option here. You're kind of jumping in the buggy and leaving the area. So 4 AM choosing not to engage early in the game.
That's actually a smart play coming in from 4 AM, not really knowing how many members of Entis Ace is within that compound. So obviously you don't want to rush a compound early with not much reward coming even from a win. So, you know, you have to sacrifice the casualties that you could face if you're doing that. So 4 AM kind of resuming their farming phase here with Gukun, trying to do the sandwich, didn't work out there, and trying to resume to normal gameplay.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of a normal thing to see in competitive gameplay, where those early game engagements, that sense of attrition, you want to avoid it. You're going to be losing helmets, losing vests. You can't replace that stuff later in the game when you have very little time to maneuver. So Vega actually transitioning early here, probably getting the best loot they can out of the military base. A very nice spot to loot, but now it's a matter of taking that loot and doing something with it, as Vega's still struggling here through game number 4.
But what we've seen, kind of the pattern of what we saw from game 3, especially with Tempo Storm making their early entrance for the very first time into the first circle. They got to the very first center Moses on the very first circle for the very first time in game 3, but that proved to be a good result with one member Zampa remaining until the very end to get 3rd place. So Vega Squadron coming from Nova, I'm sure they got a little bit of the military base as well, getting the whole island to themselves. So
picking up some nice loot there as well.
Exactly, and you get all that loot and make their early entrance. So how do you see the difference coming in with Soul making such an early entrance that was different from the past?
Well, I mean, it gives you that opportunity to get that compound. Was, you know, when you're early in these transitions, you have to be able to get that nice compound in the zone. Gatka Fields provides a lot of different places to go. As we see here, actually, Dre split away from his team, now surrounded by Atletico. So Maluk there to support, but they are not in the same building. Dre trying to give that information back to Maluk, and Maluk is now spotting Heffa coming out here.
There's going to be Heffa coming out, but doesn't know really how many members of Atletico are in the same house. But you can see very passive movement coming in from Tempo Storm. Zampa joining in the fray. I wonder if Valiant's going to join in as well. But 4 member of Atletico kind of trapped in. It seems like now it's going to be a 4v4 encounter between these two teams here. Now I saw this same encounter really occurring due to their looting phase being in a similar location. Tempo Storm and Atletico are at it again after game 3 did go more towards Tempo Storm, and Atletico trying to do the rematch here.
Yeah, and now it looks like Tempo is going to actually play a little bit of aggressive here. I think they're going to try and spot out, or at least maybe look for a down or a seam to get into Atletico's buildings here. It looks like they're more inclined to try and take this away from them. Very important spot here on this map. So Atletico now aware that they're under attack, trying to split out, get some vision here. Nothing trading just yet, no pokes happening. But Atletico just trying to determine where Tempo is located around them. And right now it's Valiant trying to bait some movement with those grenades.
And also Tempo, he's trying to see that very sharp shooting coming from Valiant, trying to knock the first member out. It's going to be a fight breaking out between these two sides here. Atletico, 2 men down at the moment. Knockout Doesn't really lead to anything. Zampa gets the kill immediately coming from the other side. Seems like Tempo Storm is going to just rush in there trying to know that 2 members knocked with 1 kill. Secures the victory in this first team fight. And Tempo Storm, it seems like a back and forth action, but Tempo Storm most likely will get the win here with the number advantage they do have it. Atletico does go down in this counter.
Tempo raising it, absolutely going ham on Atletico. It looks like they are going to stay 4 up here. Valiant and Dre both down, but hitting both trades and eliminating Atletico very early. Atletico, the first team eliminated this time, going out to 16th place. Tempo showing their teeth. I'm very happy to see this aggression coming out of Tempo this early in the game. Typically, Tempo is someone we won't see much out of, but they secure an excellent spot in the zone. That's what aggression gets you in the early game.
And really, you don't always talk about the early aggression being a benefactor, because sometimes if you risk losing your lives and losing some of the members within the team, it does affect you in the late game. But coming in, Tempo, you know this team far better than I do. You obviously casted exactly more intensively of what this team is usually capable of. Early aggression definitely wasn't in the vocabulary list of Tempo in the past.
Tempo has, as of late, you know, they've maintained their strategy, they've maintained their pace, but that aggression, Zampa is one of the best fraggers in the community, and when you come together as a team and you take that fight, that's something that, like you said, it can have a lot of downside, but risk is risk, and sometimes it pays off huge. And now Tempo secured a great spot in the zone. They've got 4 kills to their name. They have the loot from Atletico, and now they're just cruising.
And we always talk about risk versus reward being the kind of calculative tool when you talk about approaching these team fights here. But you know, Atletico really want to do the same what Tempo just accomplished, but coming in, Tempo Storm's going to have a very much a happy phase going into the later fights.
Yeah, GOL having a nice compound here, taking over Gatka entirely, so this is going to be another centered spot here. IFTY kind of scouting around. We have actually seen a reduction in the scout play, maybe so much because of these teams being already in the current play zone. TSM a little bit late, IFTY a little bit stuck in a pit. Well, I guess this is where they're going to choose home here. So the Dacias can move down that laneway into the tunnels. Something we see from some teams, but right now it looks like they're going to choose to fortify this pit and kind of hang out.
Now, perhaps IFTY kind of forgot the fact that it's not TPP anymore. You don't get the advanced vision coming down onto that hole. So
they forgot it was there.
Kind of remind themselves a little bit. They are in Ukraine fighting for the FPP tournament, but regardless, they do have a lot of vehicles. They do. I'm sure you can get that vehicle out of there. I'm sure if you want to.
Yeah, you can actually drive it down the chopsticks into a little tunnel there. That's actually a really common strategy you'll see is teams will take that car down into the chopsticks. There's a little bit of a transition tunnel. You can park the car across the way. You've got a great little bunker there, but it's fleeting. We see the first transition coming up here. It is going to favor the Gatka area, so very similar to what we saw in the previous game. So Tempo going to hold on to their spot. Liquid holding the same buildings they had in the previous match, and IFTY with their improvised vehicle pit going to be cruising through the mid game here.
Very similar circle into the western part of the map. Does that mean we're going to see the very same teams who are very familiar with this area? Talking about Liquid, talking about Entus, Ace, even, and some of the Chinese teams who have done very well to the mid to the late game. So if they win some key fights here, we might just see some of the same names that we saw in Game 3.
Yeah, and ultimately that's, you know, the position only gets you so far, and then it's a matter of defending the position, taking the aggression to the enemies around you, and then just, you know, trying to keep the pace, because if you get too slow or if you stay too much defensive in these buildings, eventually you have to leave.
Yeah.
And if you're leaving into a trap that you haven't been paying attention to, or you're not not ready to take that fight, you might find that position just completely evaporate and you're getting taken out earlier than you expected.
Making the best use out of it, exactly what you have to do with all these teams trying to get for that first place. But Entus Ace, you see, all along with GLOL, I'm trying to pick out that center position in the second circle here. Ghost trying to make their entrance early. Vitality trying to make the hard rush. Doesn't really know. They don't have advanced vision with sending one scout out already. So they don't know exactly Tempo is going to be on those compounds quite yet. They're going to have to look and kind of do the trial and error to find it out themselves. But Shadow trying to keep their distance, looking with the Car 98, also with the other weapon, trying to get some advanced vision, trying to move forward here.
Well, they have to know that this compound is occupied. At this stage of the game with this circle, they're going to assume that this very good compound is going to be occupied. They stopped briefly to see if they were going to get any trades there, any pressure. They are receiving it now from Tempo, but they're far enough away that they're not in too much danger, as we see Shadow 1K in the lead vehicle, Shiv behind with Monkey. So Tempo inclined to just puff themselves up and just say, stay away from this compound, this is ours.
You know, we saw Vitality earlier trying to make this hard rush, did not see much success out of it with key members falling down, which did really Vitality, I think, really does play on numbers very, very well.
Absolutely.
When they do have many numbers available, they know how to utilize that very, very well. So on the other hand, when they do lose key members early in the game, we do not see the same amount of success.
Yeah, and it looks like they are only playing with 3 currently. I'm not sure if that's just one member missing here, but yeah, it's crucial for any team to try and stay 4 up as long as possible. It's get loot, stay 4 up, and try and make it to the end game through a compound or whatever means you have. We see here TSM transitioning into the mountain area, coming in a little bit late, but ultimately unscathed so far. And it looks like Myth is going to potentially spot that transition. They are held into this nice little yellow compound building break. Going to grab some vision here and just maybe move up this mountain. A nice little spot here TSM has secured.
And kind of showing kind of the trend of what we saw in the first 4 games is that South has been very much occupied by many, many teams, and North hasn't been paid much attention to by most of the teams. And that probably explains why TSM has not faced many struggles. Traveling made that hard rush when they do make their late entrances. They have been very little bothered from the other teams from that North side.
Yeah, and really it's due to the fact that most of the populous looting areas are in the southern portion of the map. You have Pachinki, which is is centered, but again, in what I would consider the south of the map. And all these teams that have looted those areas don't want to travel too far, so they stick to the south of the map. TSM coming out of the northern end can just kind of rotate around the top, come in nice and easy. They do often arrive late and stick to the edge of the play zone. You can kind of see that now in their position here along the mountains. But with Tempo and Vitality, with Vega nearby as well, there's a little bit of pressure starting to mount, and this is where we see teams start to poke away at each other.
So TSM definitely receiving the blessings of how the other teams have decided to play in day 1. Obviously, the VODs will come after the day 1 ends, so these teams most likely will play the same way, even through Game 5 that will come later on. So TSM, for the time being, they're going to enjoy that top 5 position. They can play as much as they can and as comfortable as they can as they do. But we saw the early cutouts. We saw the early struggles when they're trying to make the entrance. Key members getting cut out from the road chases, and those things that have hurt TSM in the past really isn't the case in day 1.
Really, it's a matter of they often choose to split. So they'll have 2 members in one building, 2 members somewhere else, and that allows a lot of vision and a lot of control over a certain area. But if they do take a casualty, if someone goes down, they have no ability to support, because then they're going to have no one to protect the res, and the res comes out, then the pressure continues to mount, and TSM goes 2 down. And once that happens, it's very difficult to recover from that, because going 2 down against a team of 4, you're often not going to win that fight. So we see another transition coming in here. Gatka still staying in the center of the map. Now it's GOL with ultimately one of the best spots, but Liquid maintaining a nice compound phase there as well. And really, this is going to continue to be more of a poking battle, as a lot of teams maintaining excellent position in compounds.
And this is the only thing that's different from the previous game, is that a lot more compounds are in these very fewer circles. In the last few circles, we're still going to see many, many compounds being used by many teams. So how you utilize that is going to be very important by how the results will turn out for all these teams here. But still, many, many teams. Only one team being knocked that we saw early in Atletico losing out that trade. That's the only team that's gone out so far. So we're getting to the crunches here, Moses, and we're going to see a lot of fights coming through, and how they defend these compounds. We're going to see how they do it.
Yeah, and these 4th and 5th circles, we're actually looking at 4M now, who is one of the best outdoor spots in the map around this radio tower, looking towards C9. Not sure if they've been able to spot them just yet. TSM also gaining a lot of vision atop Mount Everest, or the Georgia Pole Mountain, whatever you like to refer to it. But right now, again, you can see that 2-2 split, trying to maintain that vision. IFTY in the pit. It looks like they're starting a taxi stand there. So
oh my goodness! That's your service.
All yellow dossiers ready for pickup. So IFTY holding strong in the pit. And Ghost not too far away either. So it's a bit of a lull in action here. Actually, we see Maluko down to Vega. So the poking battle here starting in the middle area around Gatka. We'll see how these teams kind of respond to each other. Zampa going for the res.
And you talked about defending these compounds being the important point of focus here. And Tempo, you see 1 not coming through. Not going to be a big deal when you can res them right away. Not much distance that you have to cover to do that. So, but they do have to be cautious now, Moses. They have to be cautious about the continuous efforts coming in. Now they know where each other is currently present at the map. So with all this available and still many compounds within the distance, we're going to see a lot more aggressive teams coming forward, trying to progress some action here.
Ooh, Tempo actually in a tough spot here. They have 2 teams ahead of them. The circle about to change. They are most likely, unless they get extremely lucky with the current play zone, having to move out of these buildings. Now, they do have vehicles available to them, but transitioning in vehicles in a spot like this is extremely dangerous. So I'm really concerned about Tempo's ability to maneuver here. They're going to have to come out of their buildings and come straight towards 2 teams who have the zone on them. And even if they make it past those 2 teams, IFTY with the taxi stand holding strong in the pit.
Taxi stand is very much indeed, when it comes to the Chinese taxi service, it's very, very successful. And IFTY are getting lucky with that chopstick position they held very, very early in the game, and they still maintain that with fair amount of variance with the circle could go on their way even for the next one. But the Chinese teams, they are looking to make a comeback. They're looking to make a kind of a fire
stand.
start. A fire start.
Yeah.
Stand with the taxi stand, obviously. but you know, in all seriousness, I think Chinese teams, they have not succeeded too much in international tournaments thus far, and they have to make their statements, and I think definitely StarLadder can be a position to do that.
Well, they don't have a lot of experience in the first-person meta. I mean, the gameplay has developed away from what they're traditionally used to, so this type of experience is very valuable. They can take this back. Again, we see another transition. Tempo is going to come out here, so they're going to have to move on foot here, as the vehicles will be a kind of a tough choice. But looking at Liquid, GOL, even C9 to an extent, they have decent spots here. Entis as well. So it looks like Liquid and Entis may be setting themselves up for another showdown here in the late game.
Still 15 teams in this very, very small circle. We're going to see a lot of fights coming through. These rushes are not going to go unpunished, and teams going to be fighting left and right here, Moses, and we're going to see a lot of fights coming through. We see Ghost and trying to put some numbers onto TSM as they make their entrance, but no really knocks coming through quite yet. But how we're going to see all these entrances, are they going to go unpunished is the question here.
No, I don't think so. There's no way that these teams can all be transitioning. We see here AIM-PR taking some shots onto McCoy. McCoy taking a ton of damage. Joe just not quite making it through there, so McCoy going down. This is going to be a very tough spot for a lot of teams here.
So after getting shot to a very minimal HP, he does not stop to heal back before he starts moving on. So that's a knock coming towards one of the members from Ghost. I don't know if he's going to be available for other teammates to help him res there, as they are very far away from him.
TSM's in trouble. They're having to run through this field in an open season here. I only see AIM-PR on the map. I'm not sure if they took casualties a little bit earlier on. Looks like Smack is down as well. So TSM in a bit of a tough spot here. They are moving into the zone, but they are moving into a lot of danger.
I mean, look at the bottom right part of the minimap as this highlighted here. So many players clustered onto Gatka, and so many players that will come as casualties. So staying on the outside seems like the good option in this particular case, and Avangard and the rest of the team, they're trying to make their calls here. You see FaZe trying to make the main, but we're going to see a lot more kills coming through this one.
Yeah, it looks like FaZe is engaged here with Joel Myth. A lot of kills coming out here. This transition is very, very difficult. C9 taking out 4AM as well. So this transition, a lot bloodier than I expected here. Still 15 teams up, but casualties mounting everywhere.
It seems like going to be a lot of one-member teams at the end of all of this, because they're going to be holding compounds, but they're not going to be fighting back once they are losing members one after the other. So FaZe holding that single compound just for all their 4 members. So I don't know how that relates to anything here, but C9 trying to get the res onto him. But TSM, you talked about it earlier, being the AIM-PR, the only surviving member. We do see Break trying to go for a res here. I don't know if he can snake back in time towards his teammate here.
I don't think that the res is going to be possible. It is going to be Break likely by himself. Tempo going for a res here. Very dangerous. Zampa trying to get a smoke out. Not able to do so just yet. So again, still 15 teams in this, but that was an intense amount of casualties. We'll see how teams can kind of get the reses out. See if they can transition here. Most everyone inside the new zone. Tempo still in a very tough spot at the very bottom, but 4AM also not out of the woods, trying to transition in a vehicle, and they are going to get a lot of pressure from all players in the current play zone.
And how do you actually see this? Just coming from Gatka, so many teams clustered in, and we're going to see very, very few little members of each team surviving out of this. Do you see them kind of being the winning point, or the kind of the outside members who have not been involved in this Gatka fight?
Well, these knocks can be remedied with reses if given the right utility. You can see FaZe kind of holding on to one building, and this is really important at this stage of the game that teams fight together, and FaZe is one of the best teams doing that. You see C9 also all together. Avangard spread out, and you can see now that Drainus looks to be one of the is the last man standing. Mumino in no spot to be rezzed. So he does have another enemy off to his left there. Didn't quite see who that was. That's actually one of LG's members. That's 9XT there. So LG in rough shape, and we're going to see another Liquid zone here. They're going to maintain their building cover, as will FaZe. So now this is going to be a huge open field push, and it's not going to be easy. Drainus going down, C9 picking up another couple of kills there. So C9 in decent position, but having a very difficult travel.
Now C9 gets the kill here, but doesn't know exactly where the shots are coming from on the other side. So C9 have to be aware of their surrounding. They are in open field, as you say, with not much safety guaranteed by all these teams that are surrounding them at the moment. But going back to Avangard, I think it's a little bit irritating to see why they haven't found much success.
Transition.
We talked about formulas kind of bringing the Avangard to success has been if they do get military circle, they have a hard time. But if they get favorable circles, we do see them find much success. But really hasn't been the case with no military circles having been come out in this entirety of StarLadder, where we still see them, even with a better circle, they still haven't found much success.
Yeah, and that's just, again, around those transition stages where they're having to move out of their initial loot zone. There's nothing, there's no easy path. They started in Georgia Pole, and they're dying in the South Gatka fields. How did this happen?
Exactly.
Like, so they came all the way around, and then they get split out in vehicles, or something doesn't go quite right. We didn't see how they got to that spot, but the fact that they're so spread out, where you see other teams that are having more success, the C9, Liquid, they're staying grouped up. FaZe does that again. Some of the best, and they're actually sharing this compound with JoeL, and now Vitality showing up as well.
And really is much of a temptation to go for the extra vision by splitting up. You talk about these top teams who are trying to go to the next level is by splitting up and trying to get the extra vision. It's probably Avangard trying to do the same thing after their success at Katowice. But going to this action here phase, trying to go with here, trying to pick up some members of IFTY on the drive. The taxi is no more as they do drive out onto themselves, but relative safety as you see Yempty not finding much success with the shot here. One knock.
Yempty actually getting a knock there, and not to mention Vitality is now sharing a building with JoeL right behind them. So this Gatka area is just an absolute firestorm right now. IFTY taking casualties, Tempo still in this, but Yempty is not letting anyone in. And meanwhile, Liquid just inclined to sit up by themselves and let this round play out before them.
And we talked about the casualties and Gatka and what the winner of that would actually relate to. And translating into that result was kind of FaZe. The 4 members strong in that one house did come out strong and did pick out some members on the other teams. But we talked about what Gatka would represent in this initial fight here. FaZe initially did come out as winners, but how are we going to see them moving forward as we see FaZe trying to control that central part of the map?
Well, they're an aggressive team, and you can see here the way Yempty's kind of spotted out by himself, using the UAS as cover. He's got lots of ammunition, getting lots of information. He sees Tempo off to his off to the east, shooting at them. He's going to try and maybe pick up some more ammunition here and come back out and get back to work. So Fuzzface playing the support player there, handing out the ammunition. IFTY still trying to transition on foot, having survived the initial barrage. Kenyoff getting the res. But now it's all about FaZe and this middle Gatka area, this control spot. Vitality and JoeL sharing a building. October sitting up in the stairwell while Vitality occupies the lower level break there on the bottom left of your screen. Also inclined to just chill and hang out. And that's a big gun firing there from Mixi as well.
Knocking out one fence at a time is Mixi. Eventually we'll find Break, I'm sure. I mean, gets a little bit of graphical advantage.
Break the snake.
Break the snake is probably what we've seen in the past, but you also see Hexeti kind of alone in the compound 2 stories below, kind of right next to the other 3 members of FaZe. So trying to get them advanced vision is probably what they're carrying.
Yeah, exactly.
But Gatka is in the south part of the map, so once this circle closes in, we do see another circle maybe towards the north part of the map. How do you see FaZe getting out of this one?
Well, it's not really about moving at all right now. FaZe did get this next zone. The transition about to start again. Now Tempo having to use all their utility. They are now out of space. They're going to have to run through this field. This is where we see Tempo kind of fall apart later in the game, having to transition in the open. The vehicle's no longer an option. Liquid actually trying to clean up a little bit as well as they're transitioning out of their buildings. The circle now on the move, a little bit slower than we might see in public games, but still a force to be reckoned with.
And we saw Tempo putting out a lot of success in their early fights against Atletico, but trying to make their movements now, getting 3rd place in Game 3 with 11 teams still left remaining. They're trying to find the same amount of success, maybe more so with all more members still alive for this team. But Vitality, you know, on the screen here, gonna be a lot of people surrounding them at the moment. Shiv is gonna be on the 2nd floor of this building, trying to fight cheek out of JoeL. I think Tovelo might be seed out here, but gonna be alone in this compound, see how Shiv does. But see a lot of fights will come through until this next circle closes.
Yeah, JoelSophie actually having control of this region, if I recall correctly, they had all of Gatka to themselves, and that's the difficult thing with having to split out. If you have a team get any level of foothold in the area you're in, next thing you know, you have Vitality in force, just taking over Gatka slowly with FaZe, putting a lot of pressure onto Zampa, but actually Monkey stealing the kill there. So Tempo not able to transition easily, and now this is all about the Gatka area, as even Liquid is facing down Vitality as well.
And this game 4 has really all been the story surrounding Gatka, and GOL, Vitality, Ghost, FaZe, TSM, and even Vega Squadron are all in the same area of Gatka. So this next circle will close, and we're going to see the next circle to see how they do. But the teams at the top of the map right now with C9 and Liquid kind of holding their own to themselves in the open field. I want to see how the dynamic really changes once we see the next circle.
That nade's going to come in and do a lot of damage to FaZe. Monkey downing Mixie, not landing the initial nade. The follow-up now coming. If he can get that in that window, that will be the end for Mixie. You can already see Fuzzface backing away from the window. Nothing happening just yet. Mixie might be getting lucky here. No kill coming. The utility having to be savored now. Vitality well aware of FaZe's presence in this building across from them.
I see Shadow trying to get that peek. He does go off the red dot side just for a split second, which misses on the split second to get Fuzzface. But talking about the circle here, this is what I was exactly talking about. Gatka, it's going to be chaos now. How do we see this really translating? The winner of Gatka, are they going to win the game?
You know, it doesn't actually know. At this point, it looks like they're all going to have to come out of Gatka into an open field against Liquid and C9. So not only are they going to be shooting at each other, they're going to be facing down fire from two other teams as well. Liquid doesn't have to move that much. C9 having taken damage on the way into this current zone, not going to be able to do anything on their own as well. So C9 might be inclined to play quiet this next circle, as IFTY spotted out by Monkey, taking a ton of damage and finished off there. So that's going to be a 10th place finish for IFTY. And now this transition out of Gatka is going to be an absolute nightmare. The utility coming out from Vitality very early.
And I wouldn't be very, very surprised if the Observer does not go away from this Gatka area until it ends and we see the final man standing. But it's going to be about game of patience and game of chicken a little bit, really, because they're all about who makes the first exit here.
No. Break got stepped on by Shiv there, so Break the Snake finding his way out of this game, and the circle is moving.
FaZe trying to look their entrance here. Tovello is going to be the first one to go out. Zhao Zhu coming from, it's going to be actually a fall coming in, but Hexeti, rest of the FaZe trying to make their entrance into all the members trying to get their northern side of Gatka. Liquid trying to get the picks off of the northern side, trying to have that area, trying to get the few picks if they can, but Liquid is going to be the only comfortable team in this circle here, but rest of the team, Gatka is still not finished here.
Yeah, Liquid in very dominating position here. Now it's going to be a matter of whether C9 decides they want to peek over and do anything to Liquid again. C9 recognizing the position they're in, they know Liquid's right next to them, and they know Gatka's coming out, so they're just going to have to wait, and there is a ton of kills. It looks like FaZe is not going to make it through, Ghost going down as well, so Vitality is going to be the ones coming out of Gatka, and now it's going to be C9's time to spring the trap.
And the end of the story is that Entis A is kind of the least expected member to be the lone survivor of Gatka. Everybody dies out due to the help of Liquid, but Liquid does knock out C9 as a whole. So once again, Entis Ace and Liquid once again. We talked about two teams that we might see again because of these Western Circle. We're back once again. 2-1 phase between Liquid and Entis Ace.
You know what? That C9 maneuver was the right play, but it was just not quite enough. The 4-up from Liquid, the reaction was there. C9 did damage to Liquid, but is now in a 2v1 situation. Touchdown! James lands a touchdown nade, taking down the remnants of Entis, and that is 2 in a row for Liquid.
2 in a row for Team Liquid, as they are very, very happy with how the results turned out. Being 2 members up against a 3 remaining member situation is going to be a very happy moment for Liquid as they do pick up another win. 2nd in a row, as you do say. I'm going to go on to see how this worked out, but any last moments?
No, that was an incredible. First of all, that was just draining the 3-pointer Kobe there. That was excellent nade from Liquid there. I think that was Yeems again, just landing that nade. But ultimately, C9, you know what? I have to give the credit to them. I saw the way that play was developing. They ultimately land in 3rd place. Entis securing another 2nd place. So now we're seeing Entis trying to come into form here, moving up the leaderboard.
And really see, they haven't done much fight to get there as well. They've really just made the smart moves and trying to avoid most of the action, especially down in Gatka where we saw most of the fights come through. We did see them avoiding most of the fights, and Christus being the last member of Entis Ace left remaining, had to go up against 2 members. You talked about the grenade. I mean, it wasn't the biggest factor. Obviously, 2-1, Liquid was not going to lose that one.
That's just a tough situation. I mean, neither of them had the circle, and had Teams not landed that amazing nade, I would have said they're both going to have to maneuver, but ultimately